What up, everybody? This is T-Easy, and today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest companies to create the gaming history we have now, which is Nintendo itself. From bringing from Super Nintendo to the Game Boy to the GameCube to the Wii to Nintendo 64, all of those consoles that were legendary have been created by them, which we all know. And we're going to be talking about what is going to be the future of Nintendo and their console right now, which is the Nintendo Switch. And just to let you guys know, we're literally on 5 years. It's been 5 years since the Switch has been released, March 3rd of 2017. So it's almost been 5 years because we're in 2022 right now. And the Switch itself had some pros and cons, but for Nintendo had one of the biggest units sold on the Switch itself because of how good the games were. Like, we have plenty of games on the Switch that we love and adore. Yes, the console has pros and cons, but we have Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, Animal Crossing, Pokemon, like all of those major games that have been on other platforms from the company Nintendo itself. So today I just wanted to talk about what's the future of their console and their company. So from the beginning, let's start about what's going to happen to the Switch. Now, last year in 2021, we thought we thought the Switch would get a better pro version. Everyone was dick sucking like Nintendo because they wanted a better version, and Nintendo did make a better version, but it wasn't what we suspected. Like I said, that pros and cons are in every console, I guess. But as I can say that people wanted 4K from Switch or from Nintendo, like to make a 4K Switch Pro, but I think Nintendo is the type of company, like they like to save more, make more. So like, just put like a little bit of advancements into their consoles, and they would sell out. Like, that's how it basically happens with Nintendo. I mean, their games don't go off value because people have so much demand. Like, when people were hating on the OLED Switch, everyone still knew that they were gonna end up getting the OLED Switch. And if you guys don't know what the OLED Switch was, it's what people expected to be the Switch Pro that came last year. But instead, it just had a OLED screen, which actually the OLED screen was used all the way back when PS Vita was there. So it wasn't really a big advancement. I mean, they did have a couple of advancements. The dock changed a bit. The display got a little bit bigger, and the Joy-Cons got a little bit bigger, and the screen got a little bit, like, it has OLED screen now. So that's about it what happened last year. Now this year we're gonna have a lot of happening this year in the gaming itself, because PlayStation's coming with Horizon, Elden Rings, God of War, Final Fantasy, like one of the best games ever made, like, they're coming out. But for Nintendo we have, especially for the Switch, coming out is, I think, Breath of the Wild is, I don't know if Breath of the Wild still has a date. I didn't check on that. But Breath of the Wild is supposed to come, and that's one of the biggest releases coming from Nintendo this year. Another one we have is Pokemon Arceus. I mean, Pokemon Sword and Shield, I can't lie. I love the Pokemon games. I played all of them, and I adore the franchise. But Pokemon Sword and Shield was not their best product. Like, the ones that have come on the Switch so far weren't really that good. Like, Soul Silver was amazing, what they did on Soul Silver. On Black and White, it was really good. I love Black and White. Sun and Moon was amazing. All of these games were pretty amazing. But all I would say is Pokemon Arceus, I think, hopefully it's really good, because the mechanics have changed a lot. Now it's more realistic. Like, you don't go to grass just to, like, a fucking Beetle just pops out like it wants to, like, bite you or something, and it's like, catch me, you know what I mean? Now, if you don't want to catch a Beetle, you could go step on it, or you could throw it away. No, I'm just joking. But you can actually catch the Pokemon while you're they're in the wild. You could look at them in the wild. Like, they just don't appear on your screen. Like, you don't get shocked. Like, I'm like, every time I go in the grass, I just randomly I hear the and and then the stupid trash Pokemon come out. I mean, yeah, it is thrilling. Like you're like, oh shoot, what's gonna come? What's gonna come? And then you end up finding a fucking Weedle. I mean, I don't hate Weedle, but anyways, so for the Switch itself, I don't think there's gonna be all the people asking for a Switch Pro again. I think they're over that because the Switch has been 5 years old already. So I think people are done with the Switch itself. They just want, I think, a new console to come out, which is I get it. Every 5 to 6, 7 years, they every company releases a new console. So as for the Switch, I would say you guys cannot expect a lot like the Switch to last longer because it's already been in 5 years. And yes, time flies by because to me 5 years that felt like so quick. I still like think the Switch just came like yesterday. And for now let's talk about Nintendo itself. Like what are their future plans? Now Nintendo actually said that Nintendo is going to make a new console in 20XX. So now they're leaving us on a cliffhanger, which these companies always do. But as what they mean, I think the console might be here pretty soon because otherwise they wouldn't say the console is coming, right? They didn't put a date on it. They just put 20XX, but they're probably finished with the console and they're just waiting for like a year or two after Breath of the Wild 2 comes out just for them to showcase the console. So now what I want from Nintendo itself is I want them to make a console that has pretty good graphics and it's a little bit more worked on because what PlayStation did with their PS5 is really amazing. PS5 is like top tier next gen right now, and it's a beautiful console. Like it runs really good games. There's a lot of games coming out. Like people were happy with it. People weren't happy with the OLED Switch at all. Now I know what you guys are gonna say that that the Switch doesn't really, or like Nintendo consoles don't really need good graphics because all they run is games like Mario or like Zelda, which don't really need a lot of good graphics, which I do agree on, but I feel like Nintendo needs to surface more and like add other games like that are more graphical. Like, you remember the WWE? Like, that shit was a whole fucking trash. Like, that would literally look like a slideshow. So, they need to add better graphics and more frame rates on their console to make the resolution better. I don't expect, to be honest, I don't expect the next console to be 4K. And if it is 4K, that's really good, but they're still really behind. Like PS5 and Xbox is already on 8K. But all I would say is I want Nintendo to actually focus on making a good console. Like, they always come with the best games. That's good. But I want them to actually make a good console that could compete with other big companies like Sony and like I don't really like Xbox, but Xbox, or like with the PCs, like, you know, because people don't compare Nintendo to any of these major platforms. Because Nintendo is a major platform itself, but it's on its own thing. Because it mainly focuses on like like everyone games, like E for everyone games, like those fun games that you play with your family and stuff. But I want them to get into more of outside, so they could start going competing against other big companies like PlayStation. Like, I love PlayStation to the max. Like I love Nintendo, but PlayStation is going to be all time my favorite because PlayStation would do everything. They would do kids games, rated R games, like and they would make really good games. So all I want is for them to focus on a little bit more graphics, battery life, of course, and just something new that a lot of other companies haven't focused on. So that's what I would like to see on their new console. Now, we don't know when the new console is coming, but I think it's gonna get released by 2023 or 2024. They haven't showed any pictures or anything. They just said that it's gonna come in 20XX. So we know it's near, but we don't know when it's going to be the day it finally gets the console gets shown. So by saying this, I would like to end my video, and just wanted to talk about what's like. I mean, it's already been 5 years into the Switch, so I just wanted to make a video on that. Like, it's crazy how 5 years ago I was somewhere else. Like, I was literally in middle school, going to my sixth grade. I mean seventh grade, and now I'm a junior in high school. So like it's crazy how you could really like it's just time just flies by. Anyways, sorry guys for talking so much in this video. Uh if you guys like the video, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.